Greetings folks, Performance Reviews, where I give you the review from the technician's point of view. And today we're going to do a brief video about Kirby's and some of their chronic problems. Particularly we're going to talk about the transmission and why it might make a clicking sound. So if you're moving this thing back and forth and you're hearing clicking, that is the first sign something has worn out inside the machine. Now, this is common enough that we stock these, well, by the dozen. So I'll show you some of the pieces that wear out. So on your left, right here, is the new one. On your right is the worn out one. And you can see the flipper here is flat. And it has gotten, if it would focus, you can see where that piece has gotten real flat on there. It should look like this right here. All right, you can see that this is kind of P-shaped here, right there, and it's got that rounded edge. So once that rounded edge wears off, this needs to be replaced. Now that is conjunction with this guy right here. This pedal can also fall out and cause problems, and this must be replaced. There are some bad actors online who are implying that you can tap this piece back together and it will work. That is not true. When you do that, they fall back out again. I have experimented with doing that over the years and found it does not work. Even if you try to add epoxy or some sort of adhesive, it's just not going to work. Once these come unpressed, that's it. Now, another curious part is this is something that didn't start happening until about the Generation 5. We don't see the G3 or the G4 have the issues with this falling out. This seems to be something with how the newer ones are manufactured. So let's go ahead, open this up, and see what's worn out real quick. And upon taking this out, you can see there's a lot of debris and stuff because the motor cools itself and constantly moves air and things through this, and it's not sealed by any means. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this out, and we'll get to see what's here. Alright, I've had a chance to clean this out. As you can see, it's much cleaner in there. We still need to take this thing apart and see what's going on and why she's dragging. And that could have been the problem right there. That was a rock just pulled out. So let's see what's worn out here. So as I showed earlier, this should be P-shaped. This one is P-shaped, and it is good to go. So this piece is good. So now let's see what's probably worn out. So you can see that there's a big gap right there. And here's the new one. You can see there's not nearly as big a gap. So when we take a look at the gap here, let's take a number 4. That fits in there. Number 4 does not fit in this. So you can see that the gap here has gotten big, and this piece is starting to wobble loose. Yeah, it's real loose on there. That just made it worse just by touching it real quick with almost no force. So this piece needs to be replaced and has come unpressed. And that is our problem. Why it hasn't started wiggling out all the way, this, like I said, will cause problems in the future, and why the machine is in here getting its service, we might as well replace it. What's another $30? So we're going to go ahead and replace it now. And again, this one had quite a bit of debris in it. That might almost looks like shit. I don't know what that is. We're throwing that away. Let's grab a Q-tip. Q-tips are your friends when we're cleaning stuff out. Just make sure there's no other debris in there. All right, everything else actually looks all right in this particular transmission. There are some things I like to check their torque, which are these things right here. Yep. And these can get loose over time. Next, we're going to give it the proper amount of lubrication, which is not very much. We are going to give it that. All right. Now, like I said, this piece is actually pretty good. There's not much going on in here. You can see that guy's right there. So putting this back together, there's a couple things I like to do. I like to put it back together with a little bit of grease on this, and I find that makes a huge difference in longevity. And one of the things we're doing when we're doing service on these things is we are greasing, inspecting, lubricating, and adjusting. So in this case, I'm going to put some lubricant just on this thing. So a little bit of grease just on that where it's going to actuate. Don't lubricate the gears. That's not how this thing works. Those are meant to run dry. It's best to leave them dry. There's a belt and some dry clutches in here. The keyword is dry clutches, and putting grease in there can interfere with that. So this is all just interacts, and you can also put a little bit of grease on that guy if you want, but that's basically how it's going to go in there. And you want to slide it in there in the dry position. Oh, there we go. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open this, and not on the gears, but in between the gears on the axle, where this thing moves back and forth, we are going to just lubricate it like that. And there's a little bit of grease on this part too, just so you know. I don't know if the camera picks that up. But that is what to do if your Kirby is clicking. Of course, we're going to reinsert this in the machine after we do a service here in a bit. So thanks for watching. If you need this part or one of these, I'll have a link below where you can purchase that as well. Give this video a thumbs up if it helped you, or even better yet, a share. Have yourself a great day.